If you get an email asking for additional documents, make sure that you are sending all the documents in one email in a single PDF that is not greater than 15 pages. This is really important. Hi guys, this is Priya from It's OKR and welcome back to our channel. If you're new today, It's OKR creates content for South Asian immigrants around the world. We aim to entertain, educate and empower them. Today's topic is how to raise your expedite request with USCIS for your EAD. What we will be covering today is going to be the criteria that USCIS considers for it to be an expedite eligible request, the step-by-step guide on how to raise the request, all of the documents that you will need to file the expedite request. We will also be sharing certain sample letters that might be super helpful for you to go ahead and proceed with this. So follow along, but before you do that, please hit on that bell icon so that you get notified every time we post a video. Please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button because it will help our analytics and hopefully this video will reach out to someone who actually needs this. Thank you so much for supporting us and let's begin. If you're watching this video, there is a high chance that you've been waiting for your EAD for over 6 months now without knowing when it's going to come. You don't know if you will be able to get your job back. You're going through a lot and we are so sorry for everything that you experience. So let's understand how you can take certain steps and make sure that you're at least reaching out to USCIS in the right way and hopefully your request gets expedited. We all understand that USCIS has been having a lot of backlogs, which is why their processing times are super high, especially if your application goes to the California Center. Currently, they are doing a ton of things to reduce the backlogs, but people who have filed it earlier in 2020 or 2021, there is still a chance that they have not received it. Okay, so let's understand how all of the steps come together so that you can begin your application. But before we go any further, we are not legal counsels. Everything that we speak about is based on our own experience and research. But if you follow the steps that we list in this video, it might definitely help you because it definitely helped us raise a successful expedite request. So let's begin. So let's understand the criteria to raise the expedite request with USCIS. The number one reason is financial loss to a company or a person. Now, this becomes eligible when it's not falling in the two categories that I'm going to speak about. The request was not filed by you on a timely manner, or USCIS requested for evidence and you did not end up filing that in a timely manner. If that is not the case, then let's understand the instances where it would fall under financial loss to a company or a person. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but we will give you examples so that you understand a couple of situations where this might get considered. The number one could be you could lose your job because of the delay in the EAD process. The second one could be you are unable to pay your mortgage because you lost your job and you don't have the money to do that. Another reason could be you are unable to support your American-born child because of the loss of your job. So these are a couple of instances and reasons where USCIS considers financial loss to the company and person, and it's an eligible reason for you to file an expedite request. So these were all instances about financial loss to a person. Now let's understand what a financial loss to a company could look like. Example, you were working for a startup and you were a very important resource who was overseeing a bunch of business decisions or an important portfolio of clients, and there will be a loss to that startup because of you not having your EAD and not being able to work for them. You could be working for a corporate where you are managing a huge team or you have a lot of influence over some of the decisions that can impact the revenue, and your company is able to provide that you are that valuable resource, and losing you will impact the financial health of the company. If it falls in one of those criteria, it will be considered as a financial loss to the company. The second one is emergencies and urgent humanitarian reasons. Now this is a really broad category and a lot of things could fall in this. But let's understand a couple of examples. For example, you are in need for a medical treatment, or someone in your household is in need for a medical treatment, and without this job, you're unable to pay for those medical bills or proceed with that treatment, and that could kind of impact that person's health or your health. So that could be one reason of humanitarian reason, and this is something USCIS considers. The third one is US government interests. Now, this could be that any of the US institutions like the US Department of Labor, US Department of Justice, US Department of Health, these are getting impacted by you not being able to do your job. For example, during COVID, a lot of health workers were able to get their EADs expedited because they were a really important resource to the economy. The fourth one is clear USCIS error. Example would be that you received your EAD but your name was spelled wrong. We've seen that USCIS usually considers these requests and it is considered in the expedite category, and they're usually able to get that sorted very, very quickly. However, for this to happen, you have to provide really solid proof or backing that it was actually a USCIS error. If you're unable to do that, then there is a high chance that your case will get rejected. Now let's understand the supporting documents that you need to file this request. But before we talk about the documents, you have to make sure that your case request falls outside of the normal processing times. We will link it in the description box what processing times look like for different centers, so you can check that out. But usually we've seen it's somewhere between 90 to 120 days. What that means is if you file your application and it's been over 90 to 120 days, and depending upon your center, it is falling outside of that processing time, then you are eligible to file that expedite request. If you try to file it prior, then it will definitely get rejected. Here is a detailed list of documents that you need to provide to USCIS to file your expedite request. The USCIS case receipt number, the letter from employer that you can't continue without an EAD and they will face a loss if your EAD is delayed, your job offer letter, medical documents of the person needing medical assistance, child support documents, proof of error on USCIS part, proof that your work is important from a US government standpoint. This could mean that you might need a letter from your employer about the kind of work you do and why it is important for the company and the government that you don't lose your job. Again, these are all the list of documents that we have provided, but depending upon the couple of categories that we mentioned above, these documents might change. So please use your own judgment to understand which would be the right documents for you to file. Our personal understanding is we have seen humanitarian grounds gotten approved. We have seen financial loss to the company gotten approved in the past. And if you are a worker in the health field, especially during the times of COVID, that has gotten approved. But again, our understanding and coverage could be limited. And if you've been waiting for a while, there is no harm trying this process out, especially if it falls outside of your processing timings. Now let's understand the 3 ways or detailed steps to raise this request with USCIS. The number 1 is call USCIS or visit the field office with an appointment. The second one is talk to your local congressman and get their support to raise this expedite request. And the third one is call Ombudsman. Now let's understand how calling USCIS works. Number 1, keep your receipt number and all of your case application numbers handy before you make this call. Do not wait for that. Now that you have your case receipt number handy, these are the other things that you would need. Call the USCIS helpline. It can be easily done by calling at 1-800-375-5283 or 1-800-767-1833 for TTY disability call. The operator will then forward you to an office that has jurisdiction over the case. You can also call the above number, press 1122 or 12611 and then the call will go to a representative. Of course, the options might change since we last did it, so definitely worth exploring this. Basically, now you have reached the option where you will understand what your case status is or what the status of your case status is. Once you have reached the option, an automated system will read out this is your case status and it's the same as what you see on the website. Once they read it out, they will ask you whether you are looking to expedite your EAD request. If you say yes, then they will connect you to a local operator, and that wait time can be anywhere between 15 to 40 minutes. Once you get connected to the operator, they will ask you the reason to expedite your EAD request. Keep that reason very clear and handy. We recommend writing it down in advance so that you exactly know what you are speaking. You should also let him know that you are ready to provide any additional documents and proof for them to be able to consider that you actually need this expedite request. Towards the end of the call, the operator will ask you information like email, phone number, etc., where they will send you details on what you need to provide if your expedite request gets eligible and pass through that initial screening. Once they do that, you will basically get an expedite request number that you can use to then track the status of your expedite request. Now, this is the tricky part. Within a couple of days, you may or may not get an email from that person asking you to send all of the documents. If you get an email asking for additional documents, make sure that you are sending all the documents in one email in a single PDF that is not greater than 15 pages. This is really important. Now, within a week, you will know whether the decision to grant you an expedite request was approved or denied. Now, let's understand how to raise your EAD expedite request through a member of the Congress. For this, you will need to first identify who is the member of your Congress. We will share a link in the description box where you can enter your zip code, and it's going to show you the member of the Congress in your local area. Please do not hesitate to reach out to this person because they are there to serve the interests of the taxpayers and serve the community. So please make that call if you've been still thinking or hesitating to do that. Now is the time to make that happen. Now, when you reach the congressman or you understand who that person is, understand what their official working hours are. Try to place a call during those working hours and understand and explain your situation. In some cases, they would ask you what is the reason for you to be eligible for this expedite request. Again, be very clear on why your expedite request falls in a certain criteria that's approved by the USCIS and explain it to them. In some cases, once they get that information, they will ask you to email all of the documents. Make sure that you are sending everything in one email, or in certain cases we have seen they send a form where you have to fill in all of the details. Once you have done that, you will either hear from them or their office on what the status is, or you might hear from USCIS in terms of what happened with your case status. In our case specifically, we had raised this request with our local congressman, and then we received an email directly from USCIS saying that we got our biometrics appointment for EAD much faster than what the processing timings were. So that's how he helped us, and this was definitely the time when biometrics was a thing for EAD. So, but just wanted to give you an understanding of what that process looks like. So now let's understand how to expedite your EAD request with Ombudsman. This, in our opinion, should be your last option and can only be considered when you have tried everything that we have said multiple times and have not gotten any result. Don't expect a lot from this, but the best way to do it is go to that website that is there and make sure you have all of the supporting documents to make this ask. But again, this should be the last resort once you have tried the processes that we have mentioned multiple times. So to conclude, you guys, I hope this was super helpful for you. Again, personally, our recommendation is if you've been waiting for too long and you have not tried this yet, please try it. Getting approved or rejected is definitely going to be in the discretion of USCIS, but there is no harm trying because these steps are available on USCIS's official website. So definitely, if it's falling beyond their processing timings, reach out. Don't hesitate to make that call or reach out to that local congressman. Now we will also share some of the sample letters in terms of how you can draft up your expedite request. This has worked for us and a couple of our friends. So hopefully this gives you a starting point to make the request. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time we post a video. Please share it with someone who's been waiting for way too long or has lost their job because their EAD did not come in time. Please spread the word. Thank you so much. And if you are watching this video, it means that you know someone or you are the person who's been waiting for so long. If things are not going your way, remember, it's okay, yaar. Sending you a lot of best wishes and positive vibes, and hoping everyone who is going through this process gets their EAD much faster, and hopefully you can get it expedited as well. Best of luck till next time. Thank you and have a nice day.